Okay, in this video we are going to have a look at the information I need to share with you to help you prepare for your January mock exams. This first slide is only really applicable to Year 11 students. The rest of the presentation will be for everybody. So Year 11 students, you will currently be applying to colleges and sixth forms or apprenticeship schemes, and I would really recommend at this point having a plan A, B and C, because having different applications in does give you that flexibility and the options that you may need in the summer. This is going to be really important in terms of helping you make that transition to the next stage of your learning. All applications that we're making should be done via the Help You Choose website. And if you do need any help and support, then please get in touch with our careers guidance advisor, Mrs. Durand, who has been working really hard with students and offering great advice. The mocks are coming up, as we'll talk about in a moment, and these are going to really support your applications, so please make the grades count by following the advice outlined in this presentation. So the January mocks, I say it every year. Last year, this proved to be incredibly important, is we have to take them seriously. There are two reasons why you should prepare for your mock exams so you can perform at your best. You should use your mocks as an opportunity to practice your approach to exams. Practice using the effective revision techniques that we'll talk about in a moment. Take time to prepare so you can perform at your best in these mock exams. The second reason is that we are working to support you to complete an exam in the summer as part of your qualification. The government has said they want these exams to go on as planned as they would do in a normal year. Therefore, we need to make sure we're preparing for that. However, if there was disruption to the exams, similar to that we experienced in 2020, then the school could be asked to provide evidence for a centre assessed grade or a CAG. The evidence to help generate these grades would come from a combination of your classwork, homework, NEAs, core knowledge tests, or mock exams. This is a fair way to generate a grade using information from across a year. Therefore, it would be wise to make sure that you are working consistently during your studies, which would include your mock exam. Things to do in the run-up to the exam. Please talk to your teachers, get a list of the topics covered in the mock exams, collect any resources that you may need to support your preparation for these mock exams, and please check if your subject has a tier of entry and make sure you have the correct tier and you're preparing for that tier in your exam. In terms of equipment, please make sure you have a black pen, a calculator that you are familiar with, and any other specialist equipment that you may need. Check your exam timetable and share it with your family. Put it somewhere central in your home. A good place is always the fridge so that everyone can look at it together. I've already mentioned that exam disruption, but the mock exams could be disrupted for individual students if they were required to self-isolate during this period. If that is the case, please make sure you contact the school via our attendance officer, Mrs. Smith, to allow us to know that you are self-isolating. If you have mock exams to complete during this time, you should also contact our exams officer, Mrs. Gilbert, whose email address is here for you. We are aware that you will have worked to get ready for these exams and you'll be ready to perform at your best. Therefore, we will work with you to look at how we can help you to securely complete the exams at home in that situation. Exams are going to take place this year in your homeroom or in an option room for the majority of students. Working this way will allow us to minimize mixing to help keep everybody safe. If you would normally have support during your exams, then we will have spoken with you about how this support will take place so that we are working in a COVID secure manner. For some students, this means that they will need to work in the main hall, and we will communicate this to those students. So revision, what really works? What should it look like? I'll share with you here the curve of forgetting. And the curve of forgetting is really important because what it shows us is that we forget new information that we have learned. But the forgetting of information is really, really important. Forgetting information actually helps us to remember that information. So you can see on the graph that we learn something, and when we first learn it, our retention of it, our memory of it, goes up to 100%. But then over time, we forget this information. The evidence suggests that we forget half the information within an hour of having learnt it. However, if we continue without revising our work, we will continue to forget the information we've just learned. But if we review the information, we can take our memory of it, our retention of it, back up higher up. We will still forget, but if you notice now, it takes us longer to forget. This is now taking a period of a couple of days to forget that information. We will still continue to forget. However, what we can do is go back over the information, review the information, and take our memory of it back up. And again, because we reviewed it, it now takes us longer to forget the information. And if we continue to work in this way and continue to review our work, we will increase our memory, our retention of that information. So learning and forgetting are really important parts of our learning process. The key to this is putting information into our long-term memory. Our long-term memory has an unlimited capacity. Our short-term memory only has a capacity to store a small number of facts, maybe between 4 and 7 parts in order to process information. This can make it difficult for us to process more complex activities. So by storing information in our long-term memory, we are becoming more powerful in our learning. A good example of this that I give to students is mobile phone numbers. When mobile phones first came out, you had to remember the mobile phone numbers you need to dial for your friends and your family. Therefore, I could remember many, many numbers. If you asked me now to give you numbers of friends and family, I would be unable to do that. I couldn't remember them. Why not? Because what I do now is I press their name in my mobile phone. I don't have to type their number in. So I'm not having the review, the repetition in my learning that I need to help me to remember those numbers. So on our website, we share the 6 strategies for effective learning with you. And it's important that we recognize these because these are the most effective ways for you to use your time to support you with your preparation for your exams to help you learn the information that you will need to be successful. I'm going to take you through a couple of these in brief detail, but you can go back to the school website and you'll find more information on each one of these should you wish to look at them in more detail. So the first one is looking at spaced practice, which comes back to this idea of repetition. The key things on here are that when we look at learning, we want learning to be a change in our long-term memory. So we have to do the repetition to make the learning move from our short-term to our long-term memory. We could cram information in, and that would mean that we do all our learning in one go just before an exam. And it can be useful, but the learning is very quickly forgotten. A more effective way is we spread our learning, as you can see here, across a series of blocks with gaps in between to allow us to forget information. This way, the learning that takes place will remain with us for longer in our memory, and we'll be able to recall that information over a greater period of time. So spreading the learning out over a period of time is far better for us than trying to cram information in. Build in time to allow yourself to review your learning, maybe even over a day or a week or a month, and go back over your previous learning to help you move your learning from your short-term memory into your long-term memory, which is where we need the information to be stored. Interleaving means mixing up your learning, breaking your learning up into different parts. So as you can see here in the images, we have a student that's going to learn topic A, topic B, topic C in their session 1. And then what they'll do in their next session is they'll mix these topics up. And in the third section, they'll mix them up again. Mixing the topic up makes your mind work, your memory work even harder. And that is a really good way then to help the retention, the recall of that information to stick with you. It will feel tough, it is hard work, but you have to be able to do this in order to help the memory of that information stay longer with you. Switching between topics, I've called it the Goldilocks effect. This means you don't want to switch too quickly and you don't spend too long on a topic. You need to find the right length of time so that you take enough time to learn some information before moving on and then pick up another topic. Working this way as well allows you to make links between topics, which also helps you to strengthen your memory of that key information. Elaboration. So here we have a gate on our left hand side, and it's quite a plain gate. This gate here is a far more elaborate gate, and this illustrates what elaboration in learning means. Elaboration means we add more detail to our work. How do we do this? We do this by looking at a topic and we ask questions, how and why. And if we don't know the answer to those questions, we go back into our notes and we find the information, and we go back to our teachers and we ask our teachers to help us to find the answers to the questions. This extra information helps us to make connections, help us to explain our ideas, and these connections then help us to strengthen our understanding and recall of the information we need. The next effective learning strategy is concrete examples. So the building on the left is one of the churches that we have visited in Iceland on our trips. We can tell it's a church from the building and the structure. It is a concrete example. This is easy to see and easy to understand. The image on the right is an artist's impression of music. This is an abstract idea. It's not always clear to see what the idea is about and what the idea means. This makes abstract ideas difficult to learn. So concrete examples can make learning easier to understand and remember. These can then be used to help you to make links again between topics. We do need to be careful with the ideas that we use. We need to make sure that they are correct and therefore support our learning. An example for our Year 11s that you will be familiar with is Le Chatelier's principle. And the abstract idea is that Le Chatelier's principle says a reaction at equilibrium will oppose any change imposed on it. Not always easy to follow. However, if we put this into a concrete example, we could call this teenager's law. And teenager's law says that a reaction will do the opposite of what you ask it to do. So for example, if we ask people to tidy their bedroom become messier. The concrete examples can make it easier for us to understand. Dual coding is a technique that is a very powerful technique, and it means that we're using two methods to present information to ourselves. This helps our memories to store and retain information. You can see on the screen here, there are images to show you how this works. So it's combining words and images together, which allows our minds to take in extra information and store it. Retrieval practice is another strategy that is a very effective way to check your learning. It forces you to remember previously covered topics. So you take a blank sheet and you write down everything you know about that topic. Then you would check your work against your previous notes to see have you completed everything or are there any gaps, and you check the gaps and use your notes to fill those gaps in. Recalling information in this way helps our long-term memory to develop, and this kind of practice and repetition helps to improve our recall of that information. So final example to illustrate these ideas and what it would look like in terms of producing revision material for as you revise would be this. You can see in this image that we have got some concepts, some ideas and facts that are related to geography. We've then elaborated on this information and we've asked ourselves further questions that we need to go back to our notes and find the answers to and explore. We've also got here some geocoding taking place because we've got images of some geological features. with some brief descriptions of what they mean. So this would be a really good way to help our revision processes work and help us to store the information that we need in our long-term memory. So revision timetable, what we have done is we have given you copies of revision timetables, one a worked example like this one, and then one as a blank one for you to construct yourself. Having a timetable is really useful way of supporting your work, and it's a really good idea to share this with your family so they can check that you are doing what you should be doing and support you in this process. This one is for a week when you are at school, so you can see the school has been blocked out each day. And then after school, we've broken this down into sections and slotted in some subjects, taking into account the need to mix the subjects up, so we're interleaving those subjects and spacing those subjects out across a week. You notice as well that there's time to eat in there that's been flagged up. There's also time to do the fun things in life. It's really important that we look after ourselves by taking time to relax and exercise and spend time with our family and our friends if restrictions allow, and doing the things that we enjoy. So it's not all about the work, and equally, it's not all about having the fun stuff as well. We have to get the balance right between the two. So using the sheets that we've given you, it'd be a really good idea for you to produce your own revision timetable schedule for you to keep. And there is one available for you where it doesn't have school listed, so that could be used during the Christmas break for you to plan your time and how you approach your learning. You've also got in your pack a timetable for the mock exams. Please note in here that if you are taking health and social or BTEC music, then you should also have received a separate confirmation of these exams, because they will actually be real exams taking place on the dates indicated. My advice to you is you take this home, you highlight the exams that are appropriate to you. Please note that option exams will take place in the option timetable. So if you have, for example, geography in the morning, then your exam will be for geography in the morning. If your class has it in the afternoon, then check, because it could be an afternoon exam for you. Okay. There are going to be some exams taking place outside of this immediate mock exam timetable window. So please check with your option teacher, who will be able to share the information and dates of those exams with you. My final bits of advice for you is that confidence, we want to feel confident in our work, and confidence comes from hard work. Going into the exams feeling confident means that you have worked hard. And if we have worked hard, hard work equals success. And this leads me to the final slide that I'd like to share with you. And this is a quote from John Wooden, and it's a quote that I share with every assembly that I have on this topic. John Wooden was the most successful college basketball coach, and he was a teacher of English. And we have to recognize that not everybody is going to achieve a grade 9. It's not possible. However, this quote means that everybody is capable of being successful, because John Wooden said that success is the peace of mind in knowing that we have done the best we can to be the best we can be. And I do believe that everybody is capable of doing that. So I wish you luck with your preparation for your mock exams, and if you have any questions, please get in touch with your teachers, who should be able to provide you the advice and information that you need.